Yo, what's good, Rich World family? Welcome back to the channel where we dive into the stories of dreamers who turn nothing into everything. Before we jump in, hit that comment section and tell us where you're watching from. New York, London, LA, Dubai, or somewhere else. And what's the date and time for you right now? Today's story is about Henry Royce, the poor kid who started with $20 in a dream and built Rolls-Royce, the world's most luxurious car brand. This isn't just a story about cars. It's about grit, genius, and going from zero to billionaire. Trust me, you're going to be hooked till the end, so let's roll. Imagine a world where cars were a new clunky invention. Now picture a boy, born into poverty, who not only mastered that world but redefined it. That's Henry Royce. Born in 1863 in a small English village, Henry's life was no fairy tale. His family ran a flour mill, but when he was just 9, his father died, and everything fell apart. The Royces went broke, and young Henry was forced to fend for himself. Didn't he have a fancy education or a trust fund, just a burning desire to make something of himself? This is the story of how that kid, against all odds, built an empire that's still the ultimate symbol of luxury today. At age 10, Henry was out in the streets of London, selling newspapers to survive. Think about that, a kid, barely tall enough to see over a counter, hustling just to eat. But even then, Henry was different. He wasn't just working. He was watching, learning, soaking up everything around him. He'd see horse-drawn carriages and early machines, and his mind would race with ideas. By 14, he landed a job as an apprentice at a railway company. It wasn't glamorous long hours, dirty work, but for Henry, it was a playground. He was obsessed with how things worked, taking apart engines and putting them back together better than before. Henry's big break came when he started working for an electric company in the 1880s. Electricity was the tech boom of that era, like AI or crypto today. Henry taught himself engineering, staying up late with books and blueprints. He had no degree, no connections, just raw talent and a refusal to quit. By his mid-20s, he'd saved up $20, not much, but enough to start a small electrical business with a friend. That company, Royce Ltd., made dynamos and cranes, and Henry's knack for perfection made their products stand out. He wasn't just building machines, he was building a reputation. But Henry wasn't satisfied. In the early 1900s, cars were becoming a thing, and Henry, now in his 40s, bought one to see what the hype was about. He was horrified. The car was noisy, unreliable, and poorly made. For a perfectionist like Henry, this was unacceptable. He didn't just complain, he decided to build a better one. In 1904, he locked himself in his workshop and crafted his first car from scratch. That car wasn't just good. It was a masterpiece. Word spread, and it caught the eye of a guy named Charles Rolls, a wealthy car dealer with a passion for speed and quality. Charles Rolls was everything Henry wasn't: rich, polished, and connected. But they shared one thing: a love for perfection. When Charles saw Henry's car, he knew he'd found something special. They met in 1904 at a hotel in Manchester, and sparks flew, not the romantic kind, but the kind that starts an empire. They struck a deal. Henry would build the cars, and Charles would sell them. And just like that, Rolls-Royce was born. It wasn't just a business. It was a vision to create the best cars in the world. No compromises. By 1906, Rolls-Royce launched the Silver Ghost, and it changed everything. This wasn't just a car, it was a statement. In a famous test, the Silver Ghost drove 14,000 miles with barely a hiccup, something unheard of in an era when cars broke down constantly. The press called it the best car in the world, and they weren't exaggerating. Henry's obsession with quality shone through in every detail. The engine was whisper quiet. The ride was smooth, and the craftsmanship was unmatched. That car put Rolls-Royce on the map and made Henry a name to reckon with, but success didn't come easy. Henry was a workaholic, often sleeping in his workshop to perfect designs. He'd sketch ideas on scraps of paper, tweaking every bolt and gear. His health suffered, he was frail and often sick, but he didn't care. For Henry, good enough was never enough. His motto, "Strive for perfection in everything you do," became the heart of Rolls-Royce. That drive turned a small company into a global icon, with cars that royalty and tycoons fought to own. By 1910, Rolls-Royce was the go-to for the elite, and Henry's net worth was climbing into the millions. Tragedy struck early, though. 1910, Charles Rolls died in a plane crash, leaving Henry to carry the torch alone. Most people would have crumbled, but Henry doubled down. He poured his soul into the company, designing cars that pushed boundaries. During World War I, Rolls-Royce pivoted to build aero engines for fighter planes, proving their engineering wasn't just for luxury, it was world-class. The Eagle engine powered Allied planes, and Henry's genius helped win the war. By now, his company wasn't just a car brand. It was a symbol of excellence. Henry's personal life took a backseat to his work. He married Minnie Punt, but they had no kids, and he spent more time with engines than with family. His health kept declining, but he refused to slow down. In the 1920s, Rolls-Royce launched the Phantom, a car that redefined luxury with its plush interiors and powerful engine. It was a hit with the rich and famous, from European kings to American oil barons. Henry's wealth soared, and by today's standards, his fortune would be in the billions. From $20 to a billionaire empire, that's the kind of glow-up rich world is all about. What made Henry different? He wasn't chasing money, he was chasing perfection. Every Rolls-Royce was hand-built, with craftsmen spending weeks on a single car. Henry would inspect parts himself, rejecting anything less than flawless. That obsession created the spirit of ecstasy, the iconic hood ornament introduced in 1911, inspired by elegance and freedom, became the soul of every Rolls-Royce. Some clients even customized it with gold or diamonds, turning their cars into rolling art. Henry's vision made that possible. The 1920s and 30s were Rolls-Royce's golden era, but Henry's health was failing. He moved to the south of France for the climate, but even there, he worked non-stop, sketching designs until his final days. He died in 1933, but his legacy lived on. Rolls-Royce kept pushing boundaries, from the Phantom to the modern Cullinan and Spectre. Under BMW's ownership since 1998, the brand stayed true to Henry's vision. Crafting cars that cost $400,000 and up, customized to insane levels like Starlight headliners with thousands of tiny lights or interiors matching a client's private jet. Henry's story isn't just about cars, it's about defying the odds. He started with nothing, no money, no family backing, no fancy degree, yet he built a brand that's synonymous with wealth and success. His cars are driven by the likes of Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Middle Eastern royalty. But they're also a reminder that anyone can rise. Henry was that poor kid selling newspapers, dreaming of something bigger. He didn't just dream, he worked. He learned, he built. That's the rich world mindset we're here to celebrate. Think about this. Every Rolls-Royce on the road today carries Henry's DNA. The coach doors that open backward, the silent cabins that feel like a private jet, the bespoke designs tailored to each owner, it all traces back to his relentless pursuit of perfection. One client had their Phantom painted to match their yacht's hull. Another had their Cullinan fitted with a champagne cooler for parties. That level of luxury started with a guy who had $20 and a vision. If that's not inspiring, what is? Rolls-Royce faced tough times, world wars, recessions, even a company split in the 1970s. But Henry's foundation kept it strong. Today, the Spectre, their first electric car, shows they're still ahead of the curve, blending ecotech with luxury. It's a nod to innovators like Elon Musk from our last video, but with that Rolls-Royce elegance. Prices for a Spectre start at $420,000. But for buyers, it's not about the cost. It's about owning a piece of history. Let's bring it home. Henry Royce's journey shows that you, Dan T., need a silver spoon to build a silver empire. He started with less than most of us, yet he created a brand that defines wealth. At Rich World, we're all about stories like this, stories of hustle, heart, and triumph. Maybe you're not driving a Rolls-Royce yet, but who says you can't? Henry was proof that hard work and vision can take you anywhere. So what's your dream? What's your Rolls-Royce? All right, Rich World crew. That's the story of Henry Royce, from a broke kid to a billionaire legend. If this fired you up, smash that like button and share this video with your friends. Drop a comment, where are you watching from, and what's the time? So tell us what's your dream car and what's your big goal. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next story. We've got more epic journeys coming your way. Till then, keep grinding, keep dreaming, and live that rich world life. Catch you in the next one.